All right, guys. Obviously, in college football, here comes a new week. Last week, as I told you after the game, we were deeply disappointed. I wanted to really see the tape before I said too much. We've had a chance to review everything, and on defense, our biggest issues were the obvious. When Daquan, we lost Daquan the week before, and that really hurt us towards the end of that game. And we lost him early in this game. He's trying to go, but he really couldn't go. Then we went to Bam, and unfortunately, looks like we could have lost Bam for the season. And then we went to Sanjay, and we lost him too. So we're into our fourth Mike backer in our system. Our Mike D-Jack really is the captain of the defense. And so anyways, what ended up happening on the film was we had some real fit problems. And it's certainly not guys' fault. It's inexperience, and you're just getting down the line into some guys right now that don't have a lot of experience. In fact, some of these guys playing, even though they play linebacker, they don't really play that one. So we tried to activate Tavion, who's been out for a number of weeks. He was not able to practice last week, but he was cleared, and so we tried to activate Tavion in a position that he didn't have any reps in that week either. So that was kind of an unfair situation, but we were out of options. And so, that had a real adverse effect on and that's why having a chance to go watch the tape, I don't know, let's call it 6 plays or so where we had major big hits. And that was a big part of it. It's not the only part of it. I mean, we got beat on some fade routes for sure. So that's not the only part of it. But, the defense was trying to compensate for everybody in there in terms of, how do you help fit the box? How do you help the corners? And I can tell you it was hectic. And it was hard on the coaching staff on defense. But that's football. I mean, I'm not crying the blues about it. I'm just telling you, after looking at the film, just, obviously in the heat of the battle, hard to know exactly sometimes where those fits are and where those problems are. So that was on defense. On offense, I thought early we had a couple of issues up front in the first series or two. We had Chess Jackson came up with us and stayed in a separate room. He was ill. And the next day he couldn't play, so we had to send him back. Okay, so Saturday morning we shuffled our offensive line. And moved Barry to right tackle, put Mike at guard, and then rotated Ty in there. So that's about every week now. We've been in a real big-time shuffle with our offensive line. I thought, quite frankly, after the first quarter, the offensive line played pretty well, though. When you watch the tape, they opened up some really good holes. That's why we came back out in the second half, and we ran the ball actually pretty well. I mean, we had that beautiful drive running the ball, but that was never to be had again because we had to immediately abandon the run game and go into the drop-back game because the game, we had to go compete to try to win the game. The only way you could win the game was throwing the football. So it was kind of a very odd contest for us. We got out of whack and really fast. We started out okay. I mean, pre-snap penalty off the sideline to start the game. That's my fault. We had to get him out there quicker. We're not even a huddle team. And then we were 3-0 in that series, but the next series we went down the field and scored a touchdown. And, and then that's when sort of the chaos on defense started happening with, I think D-Jack came right about out then, and then we started the rolling of the backers. And that's the game. Now, having said that, Wyoming, I thought, played their best game by far of the year. They obviously did a great job getting their team ready to play, and they played as good as I've seen them play all year. I mean, better than I've seen them play all year, to their credit. And awful hard to go on the road to a rival game that's so important to us and so important to our university, and for us to lose that game is devastating to us. We're all that hurt. That hurt. We've got to get ready to roll now into Air Force. Which is, no box of candy here, and to say the least, we're banged up, and then we've got this, everybody's got this kind of like flu virus going around, And that's attacked our team real hard last week. During the week, we were missing 2 to 4 guys a day, and even on game day, and even now. So it's, it's not a COVID-related thing, but it's a, it's a, I guess, I don't know what it is, virus flu type thing. It's a bug that's going around. It's hitting pretty hard. So we got a lot on our plate this week, and we've got to get ready on defense to stop this obviously one of the better rushing attacks, And we'll be short-bodied, to say the least. And we'll see how the week progresses with who we could maybe get back. But I would say we'd start the week without them, which is hard to do. It's because we're playing an unconventional offense. Offensively, we should be, hopefully, we're at, full strength. We've lost David with a terrible high ankle sprain. He's finally just coming back, right? And I thought we saw elements in the second half, a little bit of him coming back. It's been a long run with him to get back. We lost Ajon now about 5 weeks ago with a high ankle sprain. We're hoping to get him back this week. We lost Dante in week 2, and he looked, each week he's gotten a little bit better. Last week, I think we're close to full strength with Dante. So, I mean, you're talking about your 2 tailbacks, your wide receiver, and 4 offensive linemen. And now on defense, we're in, we had a DB issue early in the year where we had no safeties. We kind of weathered the storm with that. That hurt us at the beginning of the season. And now we're into this linebacker situation we're into right now. So we've, you get hit in football, but we're getting hit. And we've got to just find a way to overcome this right now. And that's where my focus is. We've got to make some personnel decisions. We may have to adjust what we intended to do. And we're in the process of all of that right now. That's as candid as I can be with you, exactly where we are. And hopefully we're going to come out of this this bit of an injury deal that we're in that's, creating a little bit of havoc with us right now. And so that's what I saw on the tape. That's where we're at. As I said after the game, it's just so in the competitive moment, so upset about, the outcome of that game. But I knew enough to know I needed to watch the tape, but I was just upset, and upset because, I felt like, okay, I didn't get this team ready to play good enough. And we just didn't. Every week we've been improving, every week. And certain pieces I felt really, even in losing games, felt great about where we were headed. And my frustration after Saturday's game was because, okay, it's a rival game, we lost that game, and just the feeling all week long going into it, not having our players at practice, and then the realization of what was going down on the field that we couldn't stop with the, and with the personnel issues we were having. That was hard, and it was hard. But, the good news is, we all understand that. And so we are all rallying right now to put together a great plan to move forward with that great plan. So I would say Saturday, that wasn't our finest moment. That's an understatement. And we didn't even play characteristically of, I think, who we've kind of been. Now, our challenge this week is to get ourselves back on track and probably doing it a little shorthanded against an outstanding football team. I mean, this football team is 12th in scoring defense, 5th in total defense, 10th against the run, 16th against the pass. Seems like the same routine this year. We're playing a lot of really tremendous defenses, and we all know what the offense is. I mean, the offense we'll be lucky to get 8 to 9 possessions in the game, is how that's going to go. Okay, so that's the game. I mean, you got to maximize your possessions. You got to try to get off the field on an offense that'll use 4 downs to keep themselves on the field, and our defensive staff has got a yeoman's job ahead of them just in that alone, never mind the personnel issues. So that's where we're at.
Fabian did finish the game at Mike. Do you leave him there, or
we got to
shuffle your linebackers because that's a really important role against?
Yeah. Well, Tavian just got back, and everything's not peachy creamy there right now. Okay, so, I mean, we got to see what his availability is going to be.
So is that your first question that you have to answer, is who's actually available at linebacker? And who you can put in certain spots?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't have the answers right now. You know, there's an old expression I can't use, but I would. And, you know, I mean, we're going to figure it out. We're going to figure it out. You know, my sense would be we'll gain a couple guys back, but they probably won't practice, which is, I'm worried about that.
So how hard is that? I mean, when you're talking about facing an option offense, it's an unconventional option offense, and you don't know who maybe you can move forward with at linebacker, and those fits are so important. Does that really kind of put you behind the 8 ball starting today on Monday with whatever plan that you want defensively actually getting it enacted?
Yeah, we're behind the 8 ball, no doubt. But we got to get it done. So we practiced yesterday. You know, we practice. It's a Sunday kind of a walk-through, run-through, if you will. And we got going. And you know, we're gonna go to the dance with who we have. I mean, you know, we got some young guys in there. You got AK. You got Cam Carter still feeling pretty good. We've got you know, Brendan Rooks will be playing some outside backer. He's back off. He's been hurt for about a number of weeks. You know, Mo is going to play some outside backer. And you know, who am I missing here? Oh, God, just drawing a blank for some reason, rolling through so many names today. Anyways, Tavion will be standing behind with DeQuan, you know, kind of walking through it and see how the week progresses with them. And that's where it is. Yeah, I mean, I don't have a magic wand here. I mean, you know, we're gonna put it together. You know, we're gonna put it together. It's just, you know, we just got to get our arms around it.
You mentioned the offensive side. You know, everyone thinks of how you defend Air Force, but you mentioned you get really limited offensive possessions. How does that affect that side of the ball? And, you know, needing to take advantage, but also you don't want to press yourself too much and create issues.
Yeah, that's a good question. You know, there's a couple of philosophies there, right? You know, if you had a perfect world, you'd have long drives and score touchdowns, right? I mean, keep the defense off the field. That's the perfect world. But no matter what, we got to score touchdowns. So we're going to do our thing. I mean, you know, but, you know, I felt last week we should have ran the ball more. That was one thing I said. I think I said that after the game, and I'm still saying it today. We should have ran the ball more. We just got a little out of whack because it got chaotic stopping them, and we kind of, you know, started taking more shots than we would normally take, and we weren't hitting on those shots. I thought we threw the ball drop back wise well at the end of the game. I thought we ran the ball well starting out the second half. I thought in the first half, in limited possessions, we did some good, you know, second drive, we went down, scored a touchdown, and got a little herky-jerky in there a little bit, you know, early on. Probably in that second quarter, if I was doing it again, we would have ran the ball more. I think we could have, I know we could have ran the ball more, but we started taking more play-action shots. That's what we did in that second quarter. We didn't hit pay dirt on that. So this week, I mean, we need to be just consistent and productive, and that has to happen for sure. No doubt about it. That, I mean, I'm not saying anything that's not, you know, easy to figure out.
Jack Howell forced a fumble near the red zone that last week. Seems like every week he's coming away with big plays.
Yeah.
How influential has he been toward weathering the storm in the secondary, like you mentioned?
Yeah. Well, he's going to be he is an outstanding football player, and he will be a hell of a football player. He's got a lot of natural instinct. He's one of those guys, you say, like, he's got a lot of ball in him. Like, he can make things right. You know, like Coach Chuck talks a lot about, like, you know, you make a call on defense. Sometimes it's a great call. Sometimes it's not a great call. But players can make that right. He's one of those kind of players that can make a call right. You know, it's like in special teams. You put him on the kickoff team. He sort of has a knack, you know, to get to the ball and get it down. I mean, so he's a natural football player. And, you know, I give him, I mean, he was sick last week. I mean, he missed Tuesday's practice, came back in Wednesday, and gutted it out. And he's a tough guy. So we're thrilled to death that, you know, he's with us, and you know, he's our starting safety. So he's a hell of a player. He's a hell of a player. Young guy, hell of a player.
This may be a hard, tangible thing to put on, but, last year with the stop and start and only 4 games, for most of your roster, it's been a long time since you've played 9 games in 10 weeks.
Right.
Do you see the mental and physical wear of that a little bit, of being 2 years since a lot of these guys have done that?
Again, good question, astute question, yes. My little bit of concern last week was, this is, what is this? 4 last year, and what are we, like 12 games in, 13, whatever we are. But in this season, we've got some older guys who haven't been in this kind of program, and some younger guys who haven't been in any program. And every week we're going hard, both from a practice standpoint and from a preparation, a mental grind standpoint. How you have to do it in Division I football. And these guys have been awesome. I'm just telling you. But last week I mentioned to them, we've got to sustain the grind now, the discipline and the mentality of that grind. I think this is all part of building this program and building that culture, okay, of what your team is and how your team, they talk about, building toughness, building physical toughness. I think we've proven we've built physical toughness. But a big component of that is the mental toughness, and that really strikes home to the ability to sustain the grind and run the end run, especially if your bye week was early. Run the end run. And, I think we still have to learn how to do that, and that speaks to your program and the building of it. And we're in that process right now, So I've seen some tremendous positive gains in a lot of things. I was really disappointed Saturday night, but in the same breath, once I had a chance to watch it all, I intellectually could make sense of it. You know what I mean? Like, and so, sometimes you got to be able to put things in perspective and say, okay, there's a reason for some of this. Not all of it, some of it. And, which accounted for some big problems. It made it hard for us to play complementary football. It made it hard for us. So, guys, where I'm at with this thing is, I am excited to play the game because I just still feel like we are laying the bricks down and we are building this foundation, and we're going to bear great fruit. We have already at times. I don't think our record is indicating enough of that right now. It's a fair statement, but I know in the big picture what we're building right now, and the most important thing is to keep being steady and keep grinding and keep building. And if need be, get some more younger players, even more experience, and just all of this is a build. And right now, our focus is win on Saturday, and then take it one win at a time down the home stretch. And hopefully we'll get some people back, and that'll help us. We'll see. We'll see. At some point, some of that stuff is is a little bit of luck of the draw. Sometimes that can come back to you. So we'll see what happens. We got a great mindset, though. Our players have a great mindset. Our coaches have a great mindset. We're pretty excited and locked in the challenge that lies ahead. There's no one walking around this building feeling sorry for themselves right now, which is pretty cool because that was hard Saturday night. And yesterday we went out there, we had a hell of a crisp practice and watched our defense attack that style of offense, and our offense attacking what we have to do. I give our players a lot of credit, and I'm really excited about it. And, that's an important thing to see. That's an important thing to see. The ability to overcome great disappointment and have a great mindset to attack a challenge. Pretty good. So that's why I feel pretty good. We just got to systematically attack it right now. I don't want myself or anybody else to get on the roller coasters right now. Just one day at a time. Let's go get it one day at a time.
How much, when you face an option attack, how much do you have to change about your base defense philosophy?
Oh, yeah, everything. Everything's changed. Yep. It's all different. We've been working on this for a long time now. We prepped for this game a year ago, and then we had a lot of time in summer, and we put some good prep into this game. So, but we haven't executed it yet.
Yeah. Is that part of what makes Air Force's offense so effective? Is it takes the defense out of what it's comfortable with, what it normally does, and forces them to do something different?
Well, I mean, some people might, yeah, I mean, most people are different. I mean, you're playing assignment football. You got to make sure that someone's got the dive, someone's got the cue, someone's got the pitch. They can still beat you with the play action pass. It forces you to be very detailed and to basically, there are some structures that we believe in on defending. I mean, I've got a lot of experience in the option football game. I ran that offense as a high school coach. And I came into this profession in college in that offense. I ran this offense. I was in this offense when I played. So I have some good background in it. I understand it. Like, I'm not coming from a point where I don't understand it. And our defensive staff, so I'm involved. And our defensive staff, we've put a lot of time into this. But systematically, it's different. And so, yeah, it's a complete. And then here's another difficult thing this week. Normally, we can go some 1-1 reps, or we can go some really good 1-2-2-1 reps and find like plays and get some fastball looks and all that. We can't do that this week. Now we got two problems. We're down numbers, so that's problematic. So really, the scout team has to be the mainstay for the defense this week, and then for the offense, we're going to have to really be in a scout team that we're not getting. We might have to use offensive players. So we're not going to get the same speed of the game reps this week for two reasons. One, the scheme. Two, the numbers. We have had to teach what we call a Falcon offense to run their offense. And we have taught this offense how to run this offense. Not off cards, real calls, real plays. The scout team kids have done a hell of a job embracing this. That's something I started at the last place I was at, where, we hit it pretty good on Sunday. I'm guessing some staffs that's harder for them to do, but we're able to get that done. So that's good, but it drains you on both ends. Takes away, you're out of your routine completely. And that's why you can see lopsided things happen sometimes against these kinds of teams,
Yeah. One of the key questions, do you have a good scout team quarterback for their look? I mean, that's what it's tricky.
Well, we have a perfect one, but he's our number 2 quarterback right now. So he's not going down there. Okay, that's problematic. But Jonah, he's got some option skills. He doesn't have that speed, but he actually mechanically is comfortable in the footwork of the option quarterback. So he's being that guy. I mean, obviously Evan would be perfect. We just can't do that. That's just asking for another major problem. All right, guys. Thank you. Yep.